Hi, guys. Welcome to my podcast, Help Me, Rhonda. My name is Dr. Rhonda Karg. I'm a clinical psychologist. And in this episode of Help Me, Rhonda, we're going to be talking about flirting and getting crushes on people and what to do about it. So this is one of those videos that I do as part of this podcast that is really not teaching skills as much as it is just sharing my hot take on things, because sometimes people do want to know what I think and do ask me what I think. And so sometimes I do, that is part of therapy, is reasoning things out with someone else. So some of the questions that come up related to crushes and flirting is a question that came up recently was someone developed feelings for someone that was in a committed relationship, a marriage actually, and in a committed monogamous marriage, and they were flirting with each other, and it seemed kind of innocent, but it was confusing to her because he's married, but he seems like he's flirting with me, and it's possible that this person was hurting or was feeling ambivalent or developed a crush on her too, and maybe they were confused about their feelings. But my hot take on sharing your feelings with that person is that it can act like a match on a bonfire with gasoline. It can ignite something that you're not ready for, like it could ignite an affair. And because play the rest of the tape out. Imagine someone that is not an appropriate partner for you. You go to them to tell them that you have feelings for them, and guess what? They have feelings for you too. Now what? Now what are you going to do about it? And in this society, we don't do a good job talking to people about crushes and flirting. And as a result of that, people can find themselves in situations that are, can be pretty hurtful to people. And they do it unconsciously. I mean, someone said to me years ago that I would be dragged around by my hormones for the rest of my life. And by that meaning that it's unconscious, it's a drive, it's an urge, and sometimes it can convince you to do things that probably really aren't a good idea, like telling someone that you have feelings for them when they're not an appropriate partner for you. So crushes are normal, even when you're in love, even when you're in a committed relationship, or even regardless, you're going to get crushes on many people over the course of your life. It's common. The more time that you spend around someone, the more likely you are to develop crushes. So a lot of times these crushes happen at work, and it's very easy for the lines to get blurred when you're attracted to someone. So one thing that I have also learned is that it's important to be mindful about the people that you're even very friendly with. If you're very, very friendly with some people, they interpret that as flirting. And if they like you and you're being very, very friendly with them all the time, they're going to think that maybe you're interested in them too. So you have to be careful about that, because it's tricky. I mean, flirting, it's on a continuum, right? It's not usually clear. Maybe you're just thinking that you're just being friendly with this person, but they may be misunderstanding your friendliness. So I would be mindful of that and not just assume that you're not going to give them mixed messages if you're very friendly with them. Just be mindful of that, that's all, because you might end up in a situation where people's feelings get hurt because they think that you're actually interested in them when you're not. So be careful about not leading people on. And in terms of the flirting and the affairs and attraction and developing crushes on people, you know, when you step out of a monogamous relationship, or if you do something behind your partner's back, let's say even if you're in a poly relationship and you're not being ethically non-monogamous, then that's really unfair to your partner. And so it's important for you to be willing to talk to them about where you're at, and if there's problems in the marriage or in the relationship, demonstrate a willingness to do whatever you can do to make it work. Turn towards each other, don't turn away from each other. And a lot of people have turned their marriages around by going into therapy. Something that is a really useful tool that I can share with you is something called discernment counseling, which is something that is offered as a professional service. It's relatively new, and it is, as I understand it, between 1 and 3 sessions, and the therapist's goal is to meet with you each individually and find out if you are leaning in or if you're leaning out. If you're leaning in, that means that you are willing to do anything to save the marriage or save the relationship. And if you're leaning out, you're really done and you just haven't maybe had the courage or been able to really effectively exit the relationship. But you're showing up for couples therapy, but when you meet one-on-one with the therapist, you let them know that you're really not there to work on the marriage. You're kind of there to work on uncoupling, which is also an important service that psychotherapists can provide, is helping people uncouple. But the discernment counseling will help you determine, A, if you're both leaning in, because that then would be appropriate for you guys to just work really hard on yourselves for 6 months, take a discussion about divorce or breaking up off the table and just work as hard as you can and be the very best version as you can be for 6 months and then see where you're at. But you see, couples therapy is not going to work if one partner is leaning out. It's just not going to work. So if your marriage or your relationship is in trouble, I would recommend the discernment counseling first. Go see someone. There are people here in town that specialize in discernment counseling. Just Google discernment counseling. Then these are individuals that are trained, that are experts in helping people determine whether or not they should stay together or not. And this is so important because relationships affect us at our core. And so it is really important to pay attention to what's going on. And like I said in the last podcast, if there are some warning signs that you guys are really in trouble, then I would really recommend that you get in and see someone for discernment counseling, and then see if it's appropriate for you to move on to couples therapy. But I would do the discernment counseling first. If one of you is leaning out and you go into couples therapy, you know what that's like? It's like, you can imagine one partner leaning in and one leaning out. You don't make any progress. And it's very, very painful and uncomfortable for both partners when one of them is not really being sincere about their desire to work on the relationship. So that does happen for sure. So the discernment counseling is really where it's at. But give your partner an opportunity to work on things. If you're having problems, talk to them. And if you are having a hard time communicating your feelings, or if you're even, especially if you're having a hard time figuring out how you even feel about the situation, go see a therapist or talk to someone else who's earned your trust about the feelings that you're having. But, you know, if you've been with your partner for a minute, they really deserve for you to do everything that you can to make things work. And I would say, especially if you have kids. Now, I will throw in the caveat that staying together just for the kids is never a good idea. That's my hot take, that staying together just for the kids is not a good idea in a lot of cases. Maybe sometimes it works, but if you're fighting with your partner all the time, that is no bueno for your kids. So I would really take a good hard look at that, and because that will affect them and will affect their future relationships with people. So do be really careful about the way that you and your partner are interacting with each other around the children, okay? So those are my hot takes. If you're having feelings for someone that's not an appropriate partner for you, I would I would invite you to not talk to them about it. I would invite you to talk to someone else who's earned your trust so that they can basically help reason things out with you and help that authentic part of you, when you're calm and confident and centered, make a good decision about your relationship and what you want to do. Okay, if you're getting dragged around by your hormones, you're probably going to be making decisions that other people are going to disagree with and maybe not understand. So if that's true, if other people around you are noticing things about you, and if your partner says it seems like something's going on with you, like, believe them. Maybe they see something that you don't see. So talk to them about it. Don't just blow it off. If people notice that you're not yourself, then chances are you're not yourself. Okay? All right. I guess that's enough for tonight. Those are my hot takes. I would love to hear what your hot takes are on crushes and flirting and affairs. So I would love to hear your hot takes. Please drop a comment below. Please like and subscribe and share with people that you know that might be interested in this video. Thank you all for your support and for helping to get the word out, reduce stigma for mental health, and also make mental health support more accessible and free to more people. So I really do appreciate you getting the word out, and we are building momentum, and it's really exciting. So thank you all for your support. Thank you for joining me this evening. I appreciate it.